Alright. Welcome back to all my tiny tots, little ones, big kids, tweens, teens, everyone in between. Excuse me. CG's lives and adults. I apologize. It's getting kind of late. Alright, so, slight disclaimer, this was written over a year ago, so this is gonna be really, really bad. Anyways, let's get into the stories today, shall we? So we're reading chapters 16, 17, 18, and 19. And I hope you'll enjoy. And if I can remember, timestamps will be in the description, I think. Don't quote me on that. Chapter 16, C.G. George Not Found, Little Rambo. Philza was busy the morning. He had called around the DSMP to find a babysitter for his mentally regressed son. When everyone proved to be busy, one man pulled through. George Not Found. Philza was internally grateful as George Not Found arrived within 10 minutes, as Philza had to be at the door as soon as possible. I left instructions on the counter. Please try to stick to the schedule and basic time frames, Philza said anxiously as he picked Rambo up and kissed his forehead before placing him back down on the floor, where he had been playing moments before. George nodded, watching as the older left the house. He knelt down beside Rambo a few minutes later. Excuse me. What do you want to do, bud? George asked. Rambo made small Enderman babbles and held a toy out to George. You want me to play with you? He asked, to which Rambo nodded, offering the toy again. George smiled, taking the toy and playing with the little. George soon realized just how difficult it was to look after a toddler as they switched games from coloring to Play-Doh, back to action figures to make-believe games. Soon enough, lunchtime rolled around. George politely excused himself from their game of dragons and knights to go make lunch in the kitchen. He was halfway done with the mac and cheese when he got hit with a rubber dart. He looked around frantically, trying to find the source of the dart. He soon spotted a white and black tail poking out from under the table. He silently chuckled to himself and said, "Oh well, I guess since Rambo isn't here, he doesn't get the angel milk I made him. I guess I'll have to drink it all myself." Rambo darted out and up from under the table, running over to George and hugging him around his waist. One angel milk too," he cried. George scooped a little up, handing him a sippy cup. "I was only kidding, sweetheart. I'm sorry. That was mean of me." He asked. Rambo nodded. "Bubba, what means?" He mumbled around his sippy cup. George felt his heart melt as he finished making up the mac and cheese, putting some of the completed meal into a bowl for the little. Rambo ate happily, his bubby sitting by his side. After lunch, George read to Rambo and tucked him in after helping him change into more sleep-appropriate clothes. Once he was sure the boy was asleep, he returned downstairs and put the rest of the mac and cheese into a container for later and cleaned up the dishes. He ended up cleaning up the living room, making it look neat and organized. Give me 2 seconds, I need a water break. I'm dehydrated. Alright. Chapter 17, Mama Puffy, Little Foolish Gamers. Foolish trudged through the snow, pulling his jacket tight around his shoulders as his armor weighed him down. It was hard to be on your guard at all times. The cold was slowly creeping into his body as he continued on, wind blowing against his face. He just wanted to be home already. After around another 15 minutes, he finally managed to get home, slipping into the house and shutting the door behind himself as he slid down to the floor. His mental age quickly dropped. He pulled off his coat and kicked off his boots. Puffy walked into the room, picking the little one up. "Welcome home, Bubba," she murmured, wrapping a blanket around his shoulders. He curled into her warmth, head resting on Puffy's shoulder. "Mama," he whispered sleepily. She cooed softly, placing a kiss to the top of his head. "Such a sleepy little one, She cooed softly, the little sleepy little in her arms. Foolish nods, yawning tiredly. Go night-night," he mumbled half asleep. Puffy nods, rubbing Foolish's back as she walks towards the bedroom, placing him down in his bed and tucking him in. Placing a kiss to his forehead before she leaves. A few hours later, Foolish woke up, whining softly. It was quite warm in the bedroom. As he rubbed the remaining sleep from his eyes, he looked around, finding his favorite stuffy on its chair in the corner of the room. He got up, toddling over to it and picking it up. He hugged it tightly to his chest as he ventured back down the back towards the bed. And grabbed his passy out of the nightstand drawer and slipped it into his sweatpants pocket. He carefully made his way out of the bedroom and down the hall. He yawned a bit, rubbing at his eyes sleepily as he realized just how much energy walking here had taken out of him. He stumbles a bit as his body begins to lean towards the wall on his right and his foot catches behind his other leg. He quickly rights himself and continues down the hall, pulling his passy out of his pocket and slipping it into his mouth. He turned the last corner and walked into the spacious area of the family room. "Mom," he chattered quietly as he toddled run all the way up to... I apologize. As he toddled run all the way over to Puffy. Puffy looked up, smiling, and pulled a little up into her lap. "Hey, my little adventurer, sleep well?" she asked. Felicianots frantically grabbing or babbling quietly as he reached for his totem of undying Steffi that was on the stand beside Puffy. Puffy noticed it and grabbed it, handing it to the mentally younger, perched in her lap. "There you go, sweet boy," she murmured as the little curled into her. Quick mention, or quick trigger warning for this chapter. Slimesicle is, mentioned as sick. Like, just a fever, or like cold in this timeline. So, Chapter 18, Little Slimesicle CG's dad, son, Tommy in it. "King, we're here," and Tommy yelled out into Slimesicle's seemingly silent house as he and Philza walked in. "Quiet down, Toms. You don't know if the poor lad is sleeping," Philza slightly scolded the younger. Tommy in it nodded. "Sorry," he mumbled. Philza gave him a reassuring smile. It's aight, mate." "Baba," a soft voice came from the bottom of the stairs to their left. Tommy in its head quickly turned, eyes locking on the little boy standing at the bottom of the stairs, thumb in his mouth, blanket fisted in his free hand, his glasses on the edge of his nose and hair sticking up everywhere. "Hey, Bubs," he murmured softly, offering us a reassuring smile as he slowly moved towards the other. Slimesicle made grabbing hands toward the older as Tommy approached him. He carefully picked the boy up, maneuvering him to be resting on his hip as he stood and turned back to Philza. "Will you go grab the thermometer out of the medicine cabinet while I make him up something to eat?" he asked. Philza nodded and headed towards the stairs as Tommy headed towards the kitchen in the opposite direction. "How are you feeling, Prince?" he asked softly, grabbing the boy's favorite sippy cup out of the cupboard. "Icks," Slimesicle whimpered around his thumb. "Oh, I'm sorry, Bubs. We'll get you back in tip-top shape in no time," Tommy responded in his usual projected voice, offering a smile of reassurance to the younger. Slimesicle's weakly returning the older smile, his head now resting against Tommy's collarbone. Philza returned with the thermometer and one of Slimesicle's passies a few minutes later. Tommy and Slimesicle had since moved to the living area and were cuddled up on the couch watching cartoons. "There you go, mate," Philza said, handing Tommy the thermometer. "Thanks, Dad," Tommy responded, taking the thermometer from Philza. "Alright, bud, Bubba needs to check your temperature." Alright, Chapter 19, Undercover Baby, Little Bad Boy Halo, CG Skeppy. Bad sat in his black and red hoodie, black and white striped soft legs sitting out before him as he played with his stuffed bat. Sanrio played in the background. He had forgotten Skeppy would be back from the store soon. His lover not knowing about his little space, he pulled the blanket tighter around his shoulders and babbled to his stuffed bat a bit more, not hearing the door open. Skeppy walked into the living room a moment later, hearing the TV on. "Babe?" he asked as he walked into the room, quickly catching sight of Bad in his little space apparel. "Bubs?" Bad looked up anxiously, quickly pulling out of his little space. "Oh, babe, I didn't hear you come in," Bad quickly murmured out. Skeppy nods a bit. "Are you a little?" he asks finally. Bad bites his lip nervously as his eyes flip back and forth as his tail, as he thinks, should he tell the truth? Or lie? After about another minute of nervous tail flitting and lip biting, bad nods, tears being forced back in his eyes, Skeppy's face softens and breaks out into a grin as he hugs Bad. Well, that's okay, Bubs, because Papa will take care of you, he asks quietly to the little. Bad nods, babbling and smiling, clapping his hands excitedly. Ooh, Papa? Bad asks softly. Skeppy nods, kissing the little's forehead. That's right, little muffin. Would you like some juice? Skeppy answers. Peace, Bad responds, offering a small smile. Skeppy nods again and picks the little up. Of course, great job remembering your manners, Bud. Bad babbles quietly and giggles, smiling at the praise as he messes with his new CG's hand. Skeppy walks into the kitchen, Bad resting on his hip and messing with his free hand. Bad hands Skeppy a sippy cup as the older grabs the juice out of the fridge. Skeppy carefully opens both the juice and the sippy cup one-handed and pours some juice into the cup. He slowly twists the lid back onto the cup and hands it to Bad. Ain't cool, Bad says, sipping his juice. Of course, little muffin. How about we go watch Sanrio now? Skeppy asks. Bad nods, grinning. I think we read chapter 20 last time. At least I'm hoping. If not, let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stories. As usual, all of these stories and more can be found on my Archive of Our Own account at Pixie Brainstorms, no spaces, and I believe no caps at all, except for maybe the P in Pixied. I think that's all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell for now to all my tiny tots, little ones, big kids, tweens, teens, everyone in between, CGs, slips, and adults. Bye!